You're listening to the Free to Be Mindful podcast, which provides bite-sized tips for busy parents, educators, and anyone working with kids. These real talk conversations focus on mindful living, mental health, and personal growth, helping all to learn, grow, and inspire with mindfulness in mind. I'm your host, Vanessa de Jesus Guzman, educator, licensed professional counselor, entrepreneur, and mom. I'm passionate about helping folks live life with peace of mind and ease of heart while not losing their, well, you know, here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 140 of the Free to Be Mindful podcast. I hope that you're feeling good, looking good, and doing better in this world than you were yesterday. So if you're listening to this on real time, we are almost at the end of quarter one of 2023. And again, as always, regardless of when you're listening to this, it's still going to make sense for you. But actually thinking about where we are in the year, it's crazy to think that the first quarter of the year is almost all done. And it goes to show that no matter what we're experiencing and how we label what we're experiencing and what we're doing or what we're not doing or not taking advantage of, the year passes by either way. So it's up to us as to what we are going to do with our time. And we really only have a clear view of that when we're able to take some time to reflect on what is happening or what has happened in order for us to propel our way forward. So my personal practice, what I do is I look at the goals that I've set for quarter one. And there are a couple of podcast episodes that speak to setting these goals, which you can start at any point of the year. So if you'd like, you're welcome to check out episode 58, which talks about New Year's triggers, because usually people start setting goals around the time of New Year's. Episode 94 talks all about revisiting goals, so that's another one to check out. And the most recent one where we talked about goals was episode 126, prioritizing our focus for the new year. So all of those will be linked in the show notes if you'd like, so that you can see how I really set out goals for myself. And I'm really intentional about taking the time to do that, because if we don't take the time out to reflect, then it's really easy to forget kind of what got us here, right? What are the steps that we had to take in order to be where we are now? So as I do that, it's amazing to think that I am now in year 2. So it's a full year and 3 months of doing private practice as a full-time job. And if you've ever made a pivot in your life, you know what a risk that is of leaving something that perhaps is secure, leaving something that's comfortable, leaving something with a great pension and great insurance, to taking a risk on your own. And in case you don't know my story, that's exactly what I did after 18 years of being a teacher and a school counselor. I made the risk and I jumped out of education and into private practice and entrepreneur life full time. And I will tell you that it has been so worth it, while at the same time being so very scary. And it takes a lot to make a potential career change, especially if it's a drastic change, such as leaving a very secure job and doing things on your own. And when we think about a potential career change or potential job change, there's so many feelings that get involved with that, because we're not only thinking about, okay, let me go and interview and let me try this on, but it's then also the idea of, well, the possibilities. What can this bring? Thinking about the unknown in a very positive way, but sometime in a hesitant way, because you don't know exactly what's going to come. And we as humans get really comfortable in knowing the very next thing. So it is a risk to just try something new, but know that with that risk, sometimes there are some hurdles that we need to jump through. So when we really think about, we go through rejections, we go through the feelings of picking ourselves after we have fallen, whether it is maybe not getting a job after an interview, or maybe it's getting laid off when it wasn't even even expected. And that emotional toll that we go through can really take not only an emotional toll, but a mental and physical toll as well, because it does take a lot out of us. Because again, we would love to know exactly what's going to be the next step and how is this step going to impact our future. But sometimes we really don't know those things and we just have to jump and take the risk. And this doesn't only come from a career or job change, but also think about when you've moved to a new city or state or even country. Think about a big life event. Maybe it's getting married or having kids. And what we've all gone through in the last few years was a huge life event where we did not know what the future was going to bring, and we just had to roll with it and be ready to pivot in any direction. So, when we think about career paths, there is a lot of uncertainty, especially when it comes to thinking about a job that is going to be the right fit for you. And something that can help us figure this out is testing the waters a little bit as much as possible so that we know if something is made for us. So, whether it is having internships, if you're on maybe the younger end, or maybe it's shadowing someone or interviewing someone, it can include researching industries, going on LinkedIn, and again, just sparking conversations to see if a potential job is a really good fit for you. But what's really important when we're doing this process is to not be afraid to try new things, but also to take it as a learning journey because everyone's a beginner at some point in time. And once we've been, let's say, a pro at something for some years, and then we go back to the beginner's mindset, that can be a little bit frustrating because it's something that perhaps we haven't had to do in a long time. So know that finding your passion or finding the right job for you or being really good at this thing that you want to try, it may not come right off the bat, but with enough effort and time and hopefully good guidance, it can happen. So when we're trying something new, it could be filled with a lot of excitement and a lot of perhaps hesitation on risk changing. But the aftermath of losing a job or struggling with the job process, that also comes with a whole nother set of issues. So, losing your job, especially unexpectedly, can be difficult for a wide range of reasons. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, but when it comes with financial struggle or struggle on our mental health, not knowing what's next, or the challenge to find a job to replace that one, especially when we're depending on that income, that can be really challenging. So it's important for us to take time to heal and to process our emotions, whether it be stress, frustration, sadness. It's really important to allow ourselves to feel all of these feelings and then to motivate ourselves to rise out of the situation stronger. And when we can't do it on our own, to call on folks that we love, folks that care for us. And sometimes it's professional help through the help of a licensed therapist or maybe even a job coach so that we can rise out of these situations. And know that a career doesn't define you. And that's something that I constantly struggle with because I so love what I do. And being that this is my business, it's my baby, but you are a whole person outside of your business or outside of your career or a job. And you have more things to offer in life than just what you do in your 9 to 5. So it's important to spend time doing other things that you love, maybe other things that you haven't had much time for, especially if you just lost a job. Think to yourself, what are some things that you could do that maybe you haven't done because you haven't had the time to do them? How can you incorporate this into a work life balance when you do start working again so that, again, you're not just you in your career profession, but that you are you as a human and you take advantage of doing things that are outside of your place of employment? And this isn't to say that all of this is going to come easy because when we've lost a job, and yes, we want to try to fit in some things that perhaps we haven't had the time for. It reminds me of the middle of the Emily in Paris series for a little bit. We also want to start navigating the job search because how long can we afford, literally and figuratively, to live without any income coming in? So, when you've had a layoff or when you've had a working gap, it's important that you're ready and in a good mental space to begin looking for a new job. And I am a strong believer of not getting disheartened by job rejections or by uncertainty. And obviously, that's really hard because there are a lot of challenges when it comes to a job search. But it's really important to stay positive, to do your research on a lot of the different roles. And to network because you never know who knows this person or knows that person. I really believe in there's 6 degrees of separation, and you never know who might give you a good tip or who might give you an interview or who might give you the space to meet the somebody that you need to meet in order to step into a new role. In addition to that, I'm also a big believer of having faith that things will work out the way that they're supposed to work out. And it reminds me of a couple of years before 2020 and everything that took place there. I was a school counselor and looking for supervisor roles, so supervisor of a school counseling department. And I went on quite a number of interviews, and for whatever reason, I just wasn't getting the second or third calls. And it was really disheartening because it's something that I thought that I would be really good at, and I never did have the opportunity to try it. But now in hindsight, looking back, I can see that perhaps that just wasn't the role for me because I am really flourishing and doing so well in where I am now. And if I would have been offered to be a supervisor of a department, would I have left right away? Would I have taken the risk to establish my own business and do all of the things that I'm doing now? So be sure to take out moments to do a lot of reflection, to think about what is it that you really, really want, and then to just take rejections as they come and know that something better for you is out there. When you have all of this downtime, besides trying some new things, you also want to make sure that you are making moves to improve your situation. And what I mean by that is take a look at your resume. Is it updated? Is it the most polished that it can be? Can you have anybody look over it so that a second set of eyes can see if there's anything that you can improve? Is there something you can do to polish your skill sets? Are there workshops or webinars that you can sit in on or take while you are looking for a job and interviewing? What are some career oriented opportunities that can help you in the current state that you're in that perhaps you would have never had the opportunity to try should you have kept your prior job? And also remember, think outside the box. And what I mean by that is there are so many opportunities to put not only your career work to work, but also perhaps your hobbies. So when you think about websites like Upwork or Fiverr, there are a lot of freelance and part time roles that you can do while you're still looking for something to fill in the big shoes. And not that those can't be big shoes, but you never know what you can find out there that perhaps starts as a freelance and can turn into a more permanent position. So, if you have something within your skill set, you can try doing that part time, or maybe it's a hobby that you're really good at and you can try to bring in some income in that way. And again, this can all be really challenging. So be sure to turn to your support network as you need it, because sometimes when your career situation isn't stable, it's important to have these positive spaces that you can turn to, like family, friends, therapists, etc., to get that boost that you need so that you don't continue to dig a hole further for yourself. And you never know, this support system can also be professionals that can provide you with guidance during this time. This is where you really look at your network and see who works in an area that perhaps I can just pick their brain or maybe pay for their time or get them a cup of coffee in whatever way that it works for you and for them so that you can start getting some insight, ask these questions, and try to make connections that way. And know that you aren't the only person that is going through this, as frustrating as sometimes it can be. So it can be really good to speak to someone else so that you know that there are other people in the same boat and getting out of the boat and onto some stable land. And when you're working through this process, weigh out what's important to you. Because, yeah, not having a job or being laid off or having a change of some sort, it may not be ideal, but utilize that time for positive thoughts and to reframe your thinking. Think to yourself, what are some other projects or interests that you may want to invest in? What is something that you were afraid to try before that perhaps this is the time to try? Consider past things that have made you who you are today. What makes you happy and fulfilled in this present moment? What do you want from your future? If money wasn't an object, what would you want to do? By thinking through these points, you gain clarity and make decisions from a much clearer perspective. So, whether you have a stable job that you're not quite feeling so much, or whether you are looking for new opportunities, know that success is relative. A lot of times we define our success by external factors and things that are happening outside of us, instead of looking inside our own hearts, instead of really having an attitude of gratitude for where we are and what we have in the present moments. Instead of thinking about ourselves or our situations negatively because of the obstacles that we may be facing, we can be proud of the achievements that we have, and perhaps we can try to succeed in some other ways. And these other ways can include our emotional well being, the day to day things that deserve to be celebrated, the relationships that we have with those we care for, and so on. And know that there is a lot in the aspect of just trying to do better today than we did yesterday, for trying to be the reason that at least one other person smiles that day, for trying to be a good mother, a good friend, a good significant other. Again, our careers aren't the only things that define on. And yes, while they pay the bills and they are necessary, know that you are just so much more. And if you are in the Jersey or tri state area, I do invite you to a networking brunch happening on Saturday, March 25th. At this networking brunch, there are going to be so many women from a plethora of backgrounds and experiences. And if you're looking to perhaps make a change within your career, or maybe you're just looking to make more connections to perhaps go up the ladder in your career path, or just more connections to make a friend, this is a great opportunity to do so. So, for the price of admission, you're going to have a delicious brunch, and you're also going to be hearing a panel of women of all different backgrounds, attorneys, doctors, all different backgrounds, talking about their journey to get to where they are. There will also be a workshop specifically on networking and networking on LinkedIn. So, again, if you're looking to make a change in your career, this is definitely something that you don't want to miss. There's going to be structured time to network so that if you aren't really sure as to how to go about networking, especially in person, or if you are more on the introverted side and need a little bit more guidance, this is a workshop that you don't want to miss. And in addition to that, you walk away with a $50 gift certificate to the beautiful Spa O located in Secaucus, New Jersey. And the price of admission is not for profit. It actually goes to scholarships awarded to Latina women applying from the associate level all the way to the doctoral level so that they have more opportunity to reach their dreams. So, if you're interested in this women networking brunch, again being held on Saturday, March 25th in Hillsdale, New Jersey, I invite you to look at the link in my bio. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I now invite you to the short guided meditation. So, right now, regardless of where you are or what you're doing, reflect on the message that you just heard. Perhaps the message resonated with you because you yourself are in a position where you're looking for something new. Or perhaps you didn't quite connect to it because you love your job and where you are in your career path. Despite which end you might be on, think about the aspects that make you, you. Not only you in the professional light, with your skill set, your experience, your accolades, your degrees, but also the you that cannot be replicated, your smile, your personal achievements, your personal interests and hobbies, your personality, the things you love, and even the things you don't. When you think of the people who love you the most, what do they consider to be most important? Is it the letters after your name or where you went to school? Or do they care more for who you are as a person, how you show up in the world, and how you treat and care for them? Have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. It would mean a ton if you took this moment to review the Free to Be Mindful podcast on the platform you catch your favorite shows. That quick and easy act lets me know what you enjoy, and it helps others find the podcast too. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you can listen along next week. In the meantime, I welcome you to catch me on social media at Counselor V de Jesus. And as always, remember, in a world where you are free to be anything that you want to be, you are always free to be mindful. Catch you next week.